Hi, this is Gary Engberg. My guest today is professional fisherman Tony Puccio. Tony, you're going to show us a different rig right now, a treble hook on a spinner rig?
Right. For a lot of you guys that are using spinner rigs and trolling weed lines and stuff like that, but actually in July and August, the walleyes will tend to suspend in open water. I'll give you a perfect example. Lake Mendota, a lot of bait fish. The walleyes during the day will move out from the weed lines and they'll suspend themselves under the thermocline and chase bait fish. So for suspended fish, rather than tying a regular conventional spinner rig, I tie one with a treble hook in the back. Now, this is a number 6, but you can also use a 4. And if I was on the Great Lakes, I'd use a number 2 because your average walleye you're catching on the Great Lakes is anywhere from bigger. 22. They got a big mouth. A 10-inch walleye can grab. He's got a big mouth. He can get on a 5/0. But what I like to do is start with a treble hook in the back. And again, for a fast snell, I like to tie my treble hook on with a Palmer knot. So I slide my line through double, like so. And then I have that through there. And let me show you this so that you can see it on the camera. And then you have your line double through the bait or the hook. And then you take the loop end and you have to make a granny knot. So you wrap that through there and there's my granny knot. Now I just leave that little gap and then I take the hook and go through the loop of the line and bring that back. And then I take both the tag end and the line and start to snug it up together. Before I pull it tight, you wet it, pull one end, and then pull the other end. So that gives you a good strong knot. Palmer knot is an excellent, excellent knot for mono. Snip it off, leave a little tag in. Now, I want to put on my front hook, and again, I use the fast snell technology that's been around for a long time. And I put my line through the eye, like so, slide the hook down, and again, the gap here is depending on the size of the crawler. So usually for open water, I like to use the biggest crawlers I can get. And another thing that works really well for this is not live crawlers, but your Berkeley Gulp 6-inch crawler, natural color or pumpkin seed, looks just like a crawler. Those walleyes or northerns in that thermocline, they're chasing bait and they're on the feed. They don't look up and say, oh, that's a fake crawler. They see that spinner and they feel that vibration and they attack it. So lots of times in the open water situations, the artificial Berkeley Gulp crawlers or the power bait 6-inch crawlers work just as well. So I want to have about 4 inches from hook to hook. There I go. So now I just hold this like this. And again, your fast snell, I like to wet this just a little bit. And again, you take your line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pinch it off and you just hold it. Grab the end of your line and put it through away from you. And just pull it nice and easy. You don't have to pull it real fast. And once you snug that up, you can see you got a nice coil here. And the line bites itself. So you don't really have a knot there. You loop around, and then when you come back through, the line overlaps and locks itself. So now you have your treble hook in the back and your front hook. Do not be afraid. This happens to be a size 1. Lots of times when I'm on the open water, I will go to a 1/0. When I'm in the rocks and stuff, I'll come down to a 4. And general crawler harnesses, most of them that you'll buy will have 4s or 2s on them. 2 is a good all-around size. Myself personally, I prefer a bigger hook because when you put a crawler on this, or you put a Gulp 6-inch crawler on this, you lose some gap. And you need hooking power. And you lose hooking power and hooking accessibility if you lose some of this gap here. So don't be afraid to go big because a 10-inch walleye can open its mouth 3 times the gap of that hook right there. So when he gets hooked on there, you need this point very accessible because this is what makes contact, and that's got to get driven home. Okay, so then you can just slide your beads on again, and again, the number of beads is determined by the size of the blade. So here we have a number 4 blade, and I just happen to know that it takes 5 number 5 beads. So the length of your bead should be the length of the blade. I guess that's pretty simple to understand. The amount of beads, and if you use number 3s, just put more on. If you use number 6s, I prefer not to use too small of a bead because I like the idea of bulk in the water. Fish see that bulk and that mass going through the water. So now I got my beads on there, and then again, we use a quick change clevis, and what's nice about that is that I can change my blade without having to cut and retie anything. Quick changes had these out for years. I put the chain, and then I put another bead on over the top of the clevis as a slime guard or a weed guard, and it keeps stuff from getting inside the clevis to keep it from turning. So now when I put my blade on here, they just snap in real easy. You hold it between your thumb and forefinger, snap the blade on, and away we go. Now as you can see, the blade comes right to the bottom of the bead. So if I was going to go to a number 5 blade, I would probably put 2 more beads on there. If I was going to a number 6, 3. Rule of thumb, put the blade on, and the blade wants to be just below the eye. You see here, you don't lose any of that hook gap right here. And remember, when the blade spins, it comes up. It doesn't lay flat. Water makes it come up. And again, deep cup blades, if you can ever find deep cup blades, they're cupped on the bottom here. They pick up more water, they spin at a slower rate of speed, and they have more thump, more vibration. The deep cup blades have won me a lot of money in the walleye tournaments. Now, if you want to use 2 blades, double it up. You got, you know you're going to double up this blade. Sometimes I'll run 3 or 4 more beads and put a smaller blade up front. So that's a good idea. The more, especially for open water, the more mass you have out there, the better off you are. And I can tell you that gold, silver, any of your and natural bait color blades work very well.
I want to thank professional fisherman Tony Puccio for another tip here on Gary Engberg Outdoors. Thanks, Tony.
Gary, thanks for having me. And folks, don't forget, get out fishing. Best day of fishing is better than any day of working.